I recently chatted to Ben Perrin, who is the host of BTC Sessions, which is a great YouTube channel. You should check it out if you haven't already. And we filmed some clips for our Bitcoin 101 series, which debunks some common myths about Bitcoin and also explains how the technology works. So this next clip is from that series, and we look at gold versus Bitcoin. Enjoy. A lot of my friends are into gold. And some of those friends just don't believe in Bitcoin. And they say, well, Bitcoin's not useful, but gold really is, because if I need to flee the country, I can put gold in my bag and I leave. And the thing that I have to point out is that gold and Bitcoin serve different purposes. It's not a matter of saying like, well, this one's better and should take the whole market, and this should have none of it. It's like, well, no, they serve different purposes. I can't send gold instantaneously over to the other side of the world. You know, I need some sort of a credit system, or I need an intermediary, or I need a ship that's going to take a really long time to get there. They serve different purposes, and there's definitely room for both.
The gold bugs that really come to understand Bitcoin and how it works really come to love it. The gold bugs that don't look too deeply into it and they just see, oh, digital currency, those ones, they tend to say, oh, it's a scam, or, oh, it's not real. It can disappear at any moment. And I think that is a bit of a generational gap. A lot of the people that you see saying that are not necessarily going to jump onto most new technological innovations moving forward. But for younger people that were already into the idea of sound money, Bitcoin is like a gift from the gods. It's exactly what you want, with advantages over gold. I'm talking about physical gold that you can hold. If you're just investing in like a gold ETF, well, guess what? You're holding a piece of paper that says you own a piece of gold, and I don't know what, 8-10 other people have the same piece of paper saying that they own the same piece of gold. The gold markets can be manipulated, and people need to be aware of that unless they're holding the asset. And that's the whole idea behind Bitcoin, is that, yes, it's a digital asset, but gold, or it's essentially an online digital gold. You hold the asset yourself. You don't need to trust somebody else to hold your money for you, because you can verify that you have it yourself. Why would you bother to let somebody else hold your money?
Right, exactly. And it gives people security, peace of mind. In a lot of countries, you've had instances where the population wakes up and 20% of their bank account is gone because the government said, oh, we got a lot of things to pay off, so we're going to take that money. And they can, because they're able to put pressure on banks and basically force their hand and force them to hand over information or give access to accounts, or sometimes they just nationalize the banks, and that becomes government property immediately. So Bitcoin is a way of safeguarding against that sort of thing happening. And a lot of people are like, well, that's never going to happen here. Well, you'd be surprised how quickly freedom can erode in a country. So we're lucky in the United States that hasn't happened currently, but you are losing your money through inflation every year. So you could argue that to a lesser degree, something like that is happening.
And it has happened in the U.S. The U.S. dollar used to be exchangeable for gold. And at one point, that was no longer the case. And not only that, gold was made illegal to hold. Yeah. And the ridiculous part was they gave, I can't remember what the pricing was, but they said that every person needed to essentially turn in their gold, and they would give them a certain amount of dollars in exchange for their gold. Well, guess what? They got all the gold, and then they bumped up the price of gold after having paid everybody out for it. So people say it can't happen, but it has happened. And it did happen again in the 70s when Nixon said, well, gold no longer backs our money. The moment he said that, essentially your money was backed by hopes and dreams. Like it's the faith in the system that keeps the US dollar afloat. And the same can be said of anything, even gold itself. I mean, people find it valuable because they assign value to it. If tomorrow everybody said, well, gold is a useless rock, it would be a useless rock.
Well, I mean, you have gold bugs who say things like, well, gold is valuable because I can use it for teeth fillings. It's like, is that really why there's such a huge gold market? Because people think, well, one day I might need some teeth fillings, so I'm going to hold on to that gold.
Yeah, that's single-handedly driving the demand for gold, right? It's people's assigned value, and people have agreed that gold holds value. People have agreed that you can buy things with the US dollar, and people have agreed and are continuing to agree in growing numbers that Bitcoin is an acceptable money, store of value, and way to exchange value for goods and services.
Absolutely.